Hello and welcome. Peace between Palestinians and Israelis seems to be taking a backseat as Palestinians from Fatah and Hamas try to resolve their differences. The strained relations between the two main parties is affecting everything from the local economy to international diplomacy. Those relations reached an all-time low last summer when Hamas pushed Fatah out of power in the Gaza Strip. The two have been fighting in the streets for months at a cost of more than 600 lives. Well, since June 2007, the Gaza Strip has been closed off from the entire world by Israel and isolated by the Palestinian Authority, headed by President Mahmoud Abbas. The PA has called Hamas's actions a coup, and Hamas was kicked out of the National Unity Government. But the violence in Gaza earlier this month, when 123 Palestinians were killed by Israel, which said it was responding to rocket fire from Gaza, has forced the issue of unity back into the forefront. Today we'll discuss the prospects for Palestinian national unity. And don't forget, we take your calls on the show. You can reach us at the numbers at the bottom of your screen. Well, joining us from Ramallah is Nimar Hamad, the political advisor to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Prior to that, Ambassador Hamad was the Palestinian ambassador to Italy. And from Gaza is Dr. Ghazi Hamad, a newspaper publisher and politician who served as the spokesman for Hamas leader and former Palestinian Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh. I welcome both of you, and it's a question to both, and perhaps I could start with Ambassador Hamad in Ramallah and ask, can you see any light at the end of the tunnel, or is this division, this extreme division between Fatah and Hamas, going to continue?
No, I think it must not continue, and I am sure that it will not continue, because it's not in the interest of the Palestinian people. It's against what is natural for a people under occupation. What is normal is supposed to be unity, but unity according to a certain program. There is a problem. There is a problem. We were not able to solve it. I am sorry to say that Hamas used arms instead of understanding the political realities. There were two programs, the program of President Abbas, and I can see the different factions of the PLO, not only Fatah, and the program of Hamas. Hamas participated in the elections. They won the legislative elections, but they behaved as if they are making a revolution.
Well, Ambassador?
Ignoring.
Yes, Ambassador, let me ask...
ignoring...
Right. Well, let me ask Dr. Hamad in Gaza to respond to that. And again, from your perspective, Dr. Hamad, obviously listening to what the Ambassador had to say, your perspective on whether or not this division will continue, or can you see any unity being achieved?
Bismillah ar-Rahman. I think there is no other choice, because we think this is our track, because I think it is not easy for Hamas to rule Gaza, and it is not easy for the President Abbas now to go in his peace process or to rule in the West Bank. I think this splitting between West Bank and Gaza is very dangerous. I think Hamas feel that they want to go back to the negotiation table. I think the same feeling on the other side. So I think we have to work on this issue in order to bring both Hamas and Fatah on the negotiation table without preconditions, because I think that this may give Israel more justification to continue its aggression and attacks against our people. And even the international community, they are listening to two voices from Hamas and from Fatah, so they became confused how to deal with the Palestinian issue, how to deal with this Israel Palestinian conflict. So I think this is a priority. Before going to negotiate with Israel, we have to negotiate with each other to talk about the internal troubles, the internal problems, and I am optimistic that someday we will go back to national unity, because there is no other choice. The other choice is destruction, is unknown future, is
Dr. Hamad, there's a question that came in. There's a question on this issue that came in by email, if I may put this to you, sir. I mean, if the divisions continue, this email from Mayor in California in the US. And Mayor asks, or says, Fatah and Hamas should come together for some issues like sovereignty, the national economy, national security, and international relations. Other affairs can be governed in their own ways, like autonomous states inside a nation. Do you see that even feasible? If you can't find common ground between Hamas and Fatah, can you see two kind of autonomous states within a nation?
I just want to
think
focus
that,
in very important point.
Go ahead. Sorry, Dr. Hamad.
That I am sure that maybe Mr. Nimr Hamad talking about two political programs, but I am talking that the main problem is between Hamas and Fatah in the absence of the confidence and the trust between both of them. In the national document, we have one political program. Also in the nationality government, we have one political program. But I think that we did not succeed to translate this on the ground in cooperation and coordination between the biggest organization in the Palestinian society. This is what we need now. How can we bridge the gap between Hamas and Fatah? How can we build a trust and confidence between Hamas and Fatah?
Right.
Maybe in all countries all over the world, there is political differences in Israel, in United States, and everywhere. But how can we run this conflict in democratic and civilized means and tools without going to the violence and clashes and confrontation?
Well,
this is what we need now.
Let me ask Ambassador Hamad in Ramallah then to respond to that and see where the main differences still lie then.
Yes. I think, Dr. Hamad, Dr. Ghazi Hamad, he is an intellectual, and I think he is one of the Palestinians who worked and tried, I think, to work for unity. And I want to say that the problems which took place in the past regarding the unity government, a common program, are well known. One of the many problems is that Hamas participated in the elections according to Oslo Agreement, even on the Palestinian passport. I am sorry to say, if Ismail Haniyeh or any other leader of Hamas, he read what is written on the Palestinian passport, which they use, written, this passport, this document issued according to Oslo Agreement. They try to behave as if there is no such an agreement. What does this mean? This means that from the part of the president and Fatah and others, we believe that through negotiations with Israel, and we must go to the end in negotiating to see what results could be. Okay. While in Hamas, they continue till now to insist no one must touch the arms of the resistance. Arms of the resistance are something sacred. In this case, every group in the Palestinian society, Hamas or others, will continue having their arms, using when they want to use it. In such a way, it's impossible things can go. Here is one of the many problems. When President Abbas used to say always, there must be one official armed force, the official security forces. Every time Hamas used to say, no one can touch the arms of the resistance. This is a certain kind of
Ambassador? I want to, Ambassador, I want to get
it will be a problem.
I'll touch on that in a second. I want to get Thomas on the line from Ireland because a viewer has joined us on the phone. So, Thomas, what would you like to ask, and who would you like to ask it to?
Well, I'd like to ask both sides there that division among Palestinians, it's only in favor of Israel. I mean, it's divide and conquer. The Palestinians need to unite as one voice, and it's in Israel's interest. Even now with settlements inside and continuing with illegal settlements, it's only dividing the Palestinian people.
Well, Thomas, I want to put that to Dr. Ghazi Hamad in Gaza and ask really when it comes to this, what the point Thomas is making is true, that many people feel that it's the Israelis who don't want peace who win, and that perhaps that Hamas is playing into their hands by preventing any kind of peace process moving forward by firing rockets into Israeli territory.
Look, I just want to remind Mr. Hamad that they spent more than 15 years in negotiation and talks. And I also listened to the statements of the President Abbas and different Palestinian figures, even including Mr. Saib Erekat. All of them, they became upset and frustrated from the position of Israel, from the dealing of Israel with peace process. And Israel is talking about peace process, and at the same time they are building more settlements, they impose more collective punishment against the Palestinians, they are building the wall, they confiscating the lands of the Palestinian people in Jerusalem and everywhere. So I think people here, they cannot understand what is going on. Say, where is peace? Where is the negotiation? I am supporting the theory which is talking about how can we make kind of coexistence between the resistance and politics. And I believe that resistance should be under the political umbrella. Politics without support of resistance, I think it will be so weak. And I think also resistance without the political umbrella, I think also it will useless also. We have now to discuss how can we bring him together also in order to make one Palestinian program, one Palestinian vision. What we need, I know that there is big difference in the Palestinian society, that Hamas is moving in one direction and Fatah is moving in other direction. We as a Palestinian, we spent many years without just sitting on the table talking about issue. How can we overcome this problem? How can we form a serious Palestinian platform? How can we bring Hamas and Fatah to work together? I think Hamas is not against the principles of the political vision.
Dr. Ghazi?
But maybe in Fatah...
I want to ask you one thing. I want to ask you one thing, that Israel has said it won't speak to Hamas, but we have word that perhaps that Hamas and Israel, there is some communication between the two groups, perhaps brokered through the Egyptians. What can you tell us about that?
I think Hamas is not is against any communication with Israel. I think that Egypt, they are taking the whole responsibility of all negotiation about the kidnapped soldiers, about the truce, about different issues. And I think Hamas transfer all its idea and thoughts to the Egyptian side. But Hamas is not really to talk with Israel because till now they don't believe that this is the best way to deal with this different issue.
Right.
Till now, there is nothing clear regarding the truce or regarding the other issues, because I think that Israel is still, people are talking about Gaza, there is firing missiles from Gaza, there is troubles, but what happened in the West Bank? In the West Bank, there is no firing missiles.
Dr. Ghazi, I'll ask the ambassador in a moment, but let me quickly get in because we've only got a few minutes left. Let me get Ricardo on the line from Michigan in the US who has a question. Ricardo?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Go ahead. Please ask your question.
Okay, I'm a Palestinian. I've been living in America for 34 years. I was born in Beit Jala, Palestine. Okay. In 1967, the war starts between the Arab وإسرائيل. وجدت إسرائيل أخذت كل الدول العربية. They took all over the territory. Now it seems like they have. It's very obvious that Hamas and the Prime Minister of the Palestinian people, they have a problem on their shoulder because the King Al-Urdun, King Hussein, and you got the President of Egypt.
Well, Ricardo, let me put this to Ambassador Hamad in Ramallah. What worries do you have that the divisions that we're seeing in Gaza and the conditions we see in Gaza might actually transfer across and start to develop in the West Bank as well?
You know, no doubt that what we are in need is unity. It's no one can accept this kind of division because it's practically damaging economically, politically, and everything. We are trying to do what is possible in order to recover unity. Now there is an initiative by the President of Yemen. President Abbas sent a delegation. We will see the Palestinian Authority, 58% of the budget goes to Gaza. But the problem is that till now, for Hamas, there is a problem. There is a problem. They accept through our Egyptian brothers to speak about the truth. While President Abbas was asking this for a long time, regarding the negotiations, and it hasn't led yet to results. I also said it in different occasions that till now, since Annapolis till now, the Israelis haven't went one step forward regarding negotiations.
Now,
but what does this mean? This means that the Israelis want to avoid negotiations.
Okay, let me ask
Why
you one thing,
I, the Palestinian?
Ambassador, let me ask you one thing that we got an email that I'd like to put to you and ask you to address. It came from Patrick in New York in the USA, and he was being very critical of Abu Mazen. He says Abbas should resign for the good of all Palestinians. He has no personal political following other than a few fat cats. Once the remnants of the corrupt days of Fatah are behind, a new neutral leader could negotiate with Hamas and the Israelis. As advisor to Mahmoud Abbas, I wonder how much he has to deal with the legacy of Fatah, perhaps under the Arafat years, and some of the disillusionment that some Palestinians suffer.
You know, this problem of about transparency, about so and so, I think it was used in the campaign against President Arafat. Now, how much there are followers to President Abu Mazen, I think that let us leave this for the next elections. President Abu Mazen said since more than 2 years, when there was the contradictory programs, that of President Abbas and that of Hamas, he said that he is ready for elections regarding the Palestinian Legislative Council and the presidency. This is why let us leave this for the future. President Abbas is working in favor of his people, very difficult negotiations, but we want this time that if we will not be able to conclude an agreement during the next 6-7 months, we will go back to the Arab states after they offered the Arab initiative, and we will see first with the Arabs, then with the international community, what could be the next step to be taken.
Thank you, sir. Let me ask Dr. Ghazi, we've got 30 seconds. I just wonder how you think Hamas and Fatah would do if an election was called early. Just a very quick answer, sir.
Look, I think some people think that the election is the magic stick which can solve all our troubles. I think we have deep troubles. We have to deal with this very carefully, and because I think that if we make now a new election, Hamas won the election or Fatah won the election, this will not change the whole society. I think we have many troubles, many problems we have to deal with this very seriously before talking about the
Dr. Ghazi, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're out of time. And Ambassador, thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. Really appreciate you being with us on the show. And thank you for joining us too on the next show. Malaysian politics have been turned upside down with a resounding defeat for the authority of the ruling National Front Party. What can the newly empowered opposition offer that's different? See you next time. Street Talk is next.